5:55 p.m. Sunset bleeds across the rail line outside Rostov-on-Don, the sky burning orange just as the ground decides to do the same. The armored train doesn't see it coming. 1 second it's rolling confidently through a gentle curve, steel cars packed with Russia's newest doomsday promise, and the next second, the rails erupt. The air snaps white, and the entire convoy lifts like a toy kicked by an angry god. Fire punches through armored plating, shockwaves fold boxcars like soda cans, and a missile worth hundreds of millions never even gets the dignity of ignition. If this train reaches its launch zone, then a new hypersonic nightmare enters the war. If it doesn't, then Putin's secret weapon dies anonymously, tangled in rails and burning wiring. Right now, Russian crews are still alive, still shouting, still believing their jammers are working. Screens show nothing but static. GPS is gone. Pole 2-1 is humming proudly. Somewhere on that train, someone is already celebrating. That confidence lasts exactly as long as physics allows. Margin for error, 0. Time to impact, 14 seconds. 5:56 p.m. Same rail line, same sunset, and on paper, this convoy is untouchable. Russia didn't trust this cargo to luck or camouflage. It wrapped it in doctrine, money, and paranoia. The lead cars are armored like medieval knights on wheels. Electronic warfare vans hum with Pole 2-1 arrays, flooding the sky with GPS denial so thick, even civilian airliners would start sweating. Spetsnaz snipers crouch on flatbeds, fingers numb but steady, scanning tree lines for ghosts that aren't supposed to exist. Behind them rolls the Baikal escort train, bristling with sensors, radios, backup power, redundancy, stacked on redundancy, because this is not just a train, this is a moving red line. Russian planners sold it as invincible, too fast to target, too protected to jam, too expensive to lose. And if you're watching this as a commander, you nod along. You trust the math, you trust the jammers, you trust that no one would dare attack something this layered, this loud, this confident. But here is the catch, the doctrine never prepared for. All of this muscle was built to fight signals, not vision. Stay with me. 5:57 p.m. The value of what's riding those rails is the kind of number that makes accountants whisper. The Oreshnik missile isn't just another rocket in a warehouse. It's a political object, a hypersonic resume line meant to scare NATO planners into sleepless nights. Each missile car carries hardware measured in hundreds of millions, wrapped in classified alloys, guidance systems no one outside the Kremlin is supposed to see, and months of sanctions-dodging logistics stitched together like a black market miracle. Add the escort train, the electronic warfare suites, the armed security teams, and the specialized rail infrastructure needed just to move this thing, and you're staring at a rolling price tag brushing the billion-dollar line. This isn't ammunition. This is prestige. This is a $400 million dream on steel wheels, advertised internally as unstoppable, untouchable, inevitable. Lose it in combat, and it's painful. Lose it before launch, on your own rails, at sunset, and it becomes something worse. It becomes an embarrassment that no parade can erase. And right now, just off the tracks, Ukraine is about to put a very small price tag against a very large problem. 5:58 p.m. The trap doesn't snap shut with noise. It opens quietly, like a math equation finely balanced. High above the rail line, a shark reconnaissance drone drifts with the patience of something that knows it will not be challenged. Its stabilized camera drinking in curves, shadows, ballast stones, rail joints, and heat signatures, turning sunset reflections into a visual fingerprint so detailed it doesn't need satellites to know where it is. GPS is irrelevant here. Radio silence is deliberate. This drone navigates by sight, by memory, by comparison, stitching the world together frame by frame in a way no jammer can touch, because you can't noise your way out of reality. Then the bait arrives. Wild Hornet drones, cheap enough to be dismissed and loud enough to be irresistible, slide in at ugly angles, just threatening enough to demand a response. Sensors spike. Alerts scream. Pole 2-1 arrays roar to life, vomiting electronic noise into the sky with the swagger of a system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Missiles leap off rails, tracers claw upward, decoys pop into neat, satisfying fireballs, and down on the armored cars, Russian soldiers start high-fiving like they just won the Super Bowl by shooting a cardboard cutout. You can almost hear the budget evaporating. $2 million interceptors chasing a few $1,000 problem. Wall Street would call this a robbery. But here is the lethal detail only sharp eyes catch. Ukraine never wanted silence, they wanted reaction. Every launch is a subtraction problem Russian math can't afford. Every kill on a decoy is one less real shot for the real threat. While crews celebrate fake victories, the shark keeps watching, correcting angles, refining vectors, locking the rail curve into its visual library like a bookmarked page in a closed book. The train's speed, the bend radius, the spacing of poles and tree lines, each frame becomes a coordinate system built out of daylight. Somewhere far away, a storm shadow wakes up. It doesn't ask where it is. It already knows what the world looks like. It drops low, terrain rising to meet it, rails bending exactly as predicted. No GPS, no guidance updates. Just optical navigation at near supersonic speed, using the Earth itself as a ruler. Stay focused, because right now Russian crews believe the sky is empty. The jammers are humming, the guns are cooling, and the real weapon has just crossed the line where physics replaces faith. 5:59 p.m. On the train, confidence curdles into something uglier. The last decoy detonates in the distance, and the mood flips from tension to celebration far too quickly. Helmets come off. Someone lights a cigarette despite regulations. A Spetsnaz sniper leans back against a warm steel wall, joking that Kiev just burned its last toys. In the command car, operators scroll through screens filled with static and smile, because static means the jammer is winning. Pole 2-1 hums like a drunk bodyguard who thinks silence equals safety. This is the most dangerous moment in modern warfare, the victory lap. Russian doctrine loves it. You shoot down the threat, you relax, you trust the system. Interceptors are logged. Ammo counts look thinner, but nobody panics. After all, what else could get through a sky this noisy? But wait, this is the lethal error. Jamming works only if the enemy is still listening. Ukraine already stopped listening minutes ago. While Russian crews celebrate burning cardboard, they don't notice the absence that matters. No new radar spikes, no frantic evasive drones, no second wave begging to be shot. The sky has gone quiet in the wrong way. If you were commanding this train, what would you do? Keep rolling, trusting the math, or stop, admit something feels off, and break radio silence? Russian crews choose pride. The convoy pushes forward, engines steady, steel wheels biting into rails that are about to become shrapnel. And here's the irony that stings. Every interceptor fired in celebration just widened the hole. Every high five cost real protection. This wasn't a defense success. It was a self-funded disarmament program, executed flawlessly by the wrong side. Stay with me. The party is about to end, and the guest of honor is arriving without an invitation. 6 p.m. The real weapon doesn't announce itself. There's no radar spike, no warning tone, no frantic shout over the intercom. One moment the rail line is just steel and gravel glowing orange in the dying light, and the next moment something fast and heavy slips under the noise floor of the war, skimming terrain so low it feels like gravity is doing the guidance. The storm shadow is already inside the envelope, where decisions no longer matter. From the missile's perspective, the world is simple. Rails curve left, tree line breaks, utility poles pass at a predictable rhythm. Every frame matches the memory built earlier by the shark. Optical navigation locks in like a vice. No GPS to jam, no signal to spoof, just geometry, speed, and inevitability. On the train, the first human reaction comes too late. A sensor operator frowns at a screen that doesn't look wrong enough to be alarming. A Spetsnaz sniper squints into the sunset, feeling something instinctive tighten in his chest. Someone starts to say, "Do you hear that?" and never finishes the sentence. Time to impact. 12 seconds. The missile clears the last rise and dives, not at the center of the train but at the curve, the one place rail physics can't forgive. This isn't about hitting armor, it's about breaking continuity. Steel wheels meet warped track. The blast doesn't just explode, it edits reality. The warhead detonates low and forward, shock waves slamming sideways, lifting the lead cars just enough to derail everything behind them. Momentum does the rest. Time to impact. 6 seconds. Secondary explosions begin immediately. Fuel ignites, power lines snap. One missile car ruptures without ever launching, its propellant cooking off in a rolling fireball that turns dusk into daylight. The escort cars slam into each other, armor screaming, men thrown like loose equipment inside their own invincible machine. And here's the cruelest part. Pole 2-1 is still running. The jammers never shut off. They die humming, faithfully protecting a signal no one is using, while a billion-dollar train collapses under the weight of pure physics. Stay focused. This isn't the explosion yet. This is just the moment gravity takes command. And as the dust begins to rise, something clicks in the minds of the survivors. This wasn't luck, this wasn't saturation, this was placement, angle, timing. A single strike chosen to let inertia finish the job. The realization arrives late, sharp and humiliating. They weren't outgunned, they were outthought. 6 p.m. and 18 seconds. What follows isn't a single explosion but a sequence, a chain reaction written by physics, not drama. The derailed lead car twists first, its mass still moving forward while the rails beneath it stop existing as rails, converting kinetic energy into rotational violence. Steel wheels shear, axles snap. The second car jackknifes, transferring momentum sideways, slamming into the missile carrier behind it with the kind of force engineers only see in simulation failures. Then the fire catches up. Solid propellant doesn't explode politely, it deflagrates, burning fast enough to look instantaneous, slow enough to cook everything nearby before shattering it. One Oreshnik canister ruptures under heat, pressure spikes, and the casing fails asymmetrically, venting energy laterally instead of upward. That's why the blast rolls along the train, not away from it, turning armored cars into pressure chambers that burst from the inside out. Shockwaves bounce between steel surfaces, overlapping, amplifying, finding seams, bolts, welds. Windows become shrapnel, radios become shrapnel. Men become passengers inside a machine that no longer recognizes them. The ground absorbs part of the energy, reflects the rest, and the rail bed itself liquefies for a heartbeat. Gravel behaving like water under stress it was never designed to survive. Fuel follows heat. Heat follows oxygen. The sunset disappears behind a wall of black smoke and incandescent debris, and the sound finally arrives in layers. First the crack, then the roar, then the rolling thunder that rattles windows miles away. This is not a lucky hit. This is energy transfer done correctly. By the time silence starts creeping back in, the train is no longer a system. It's a collection of disconnected masses, still burning, still cooking off, still deleting value by the second. And somewhere in that wreckage lies a weapon that never flew, never scared anyone, never mattered. 6:02 p.m. Now step back, because this is where the fire stops being cinematic and becomes humiliatingly financial. Ukraine didn't gamble a fleet, didn't risk pilots, didn't trade lives for headlines. The tools that mattered were cheap. A Shark drone that costs less than a used pickup truck. A handful of Wild Hornet decoys priced closer to hobby gear than military hardware. One Storm Shadow expensive by civilian standards, sure, but still pocket change compared to what it erased. Call the entire operation a few $1 million, planned once, executed once, never repeated. Now flip the ledger. A missile train carrying a hypersonic system advertised as a strategic game changer. Escort hardware stacked with electronics. Interceptors fired into cardboard ghosts. Rail infrastructure torn apart. Conservatively, this deletes hundreds of millions. Realistically, it vaporizes $1 billion narrative. Russia can't afford to lose, not destroyed in battle, not intercepted mid-air, erased on its own rails before it ever spoke. This is the part Russian doctrine hates. Electronic warfare didn't fail because it was weak, it failed because it was irrelevant. Pol 2-1 did exactly what it promised, and still lost, because Ukraine stopped asking the sky for permission and started reading the ground instead. Vision beat noise, geometry beat arrogance. AI-guided optics walked straight through a fortress built to fight yesterday's war. That's the checkmate. Russia didn't lose a missile, it lost the assumption that complexity equals safety. From this moment on, every secure transfer, every protected convoy, every expensive moving target has to ask an ugly question. What if the enemy isn't listening anymore? So now it's your turn. If you were betting your own money, which strategy do you trust billion-dollar muscle wrapped in jammers or a few smart machines that understand the shape of the world better than you do? Drop your answer below, because this war isn't being won by who spends more, it's being won by who thinks last.